I have a letter I'd like to share with you. My dear friend, you've been on my mind lately, and I found myself thinking about the time we have known each other. It seems to have been a long, long time, yet also it feels like it was but a brief moment. We've had a lot of experiences so far in life, you and I, experiences we have shared together, and experiences that we have had individually. We have shared in some of the beautiful joys of life and in the challenges too. I guess that's what makes us, what it means. I guess that's what it means to be and to have a friend. As Fra Giovanni said in his Christmas blessing, "You are my friend, and my love for you goes deep." In the spirit of that deep love, I want to share some ideas with you that I have recently discovered and begun using in my life. Some of these will not be new to you, I know. Yet, you may find some idea that may prove useful and valuable to you as they have become to me. The place to begin, I think, is the beginning. So I begin with one of my favorite scriptures, the Gospel of John, specifically the first chapter. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, we've both learned during our time in unity that everything begins with the Word, or an idea in the one mind, God. As John puts it, all things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. In Aramaic, Jesus' language, the word is miltha, which means mind essence, or the energy in mind we call an idea. From the Greek, we get logos, which may mean reasonable speech or reasonable thought. Perfect creation has come forth by the creative power of God, expressed through reasonable, perfect ideas. I envision this process in this way. God is the source of pure, perfect light, like the light in a movie projector in the theater. Each pure or reasonable idea becomes the film through which the light shines to project a perfectly focused, moving experience on the screen of life in living color. Now, our friend and teacher Charles Fillmore said that man, through his words, uses the creative principle of divine mind to create. Jesus stated that the Son could only do what he saw the Father doing. So we create our experiences and our world in the same manner as God does. And remember the projector light, the film, and the moving experience on the screen? Right now I'm remembering Gone with the Wind. But that was another time. Another point for me was to realize that if I keep changing the film, the movie will be a patchwork of chaos, and I will never see how it really ends. Or how about this? If I find myself watching Friday the 13th, part 22, apparently someone has seen it, and I didn't like the first 21 parts, Why am I watching what I don't want? I don't have to finish it. I can choose to see something else that I would really like. I think I can hear you, my friend, remembering when I had such a lack consciousness that after paying my admission, I'd stick it out till the end, liking it or not, just to get what I thought was my money's worth. Yeah. Yes, I'm glad that I've grown beyond such foolishness. Well, I've come to realize that it works with the word, too. If there's some habit of thinking that causes me discomfort or divine discontent, because the divine in me calls me to higher things, I can change it. I can walk out, so to speak, go to a more satisfying movie experience. I'm reminded of friends we both have that watch TV all the time, whether they like it or not, no matter what is on. They seem to forget, whose TV is it anyway? And that they can choose to change the channel or turn the thing off. When it's off, the false fantasy is over, and they can look at what is real, life. Maybe that's why they keep the thing turned on. It's turned on, and they are tuned out. There really is a purpose in this little illustration, a point that I do want to make. Jesus said that we would be held accountable for our every word. That means that we will experience every idea we run through the projector of our minds and allow to play straight through. Back at the beginning, I spoke of that Greek word logos as meaning reasonable speech or thought. That has grown to mean to me a true idea or a true thought. God creates through true, pure ideas. Ideas based on reality. I know now that I can, and if I want, the rest of my life will be the way I say I want it. I must do the same. Enough of the fantasies, cartoons, and Friday the 13th, part 22. Thank you very much. What I have discovered is this. I've been creating a cinematic serial based on unreasonable or unreal thoughts. A continuing saga of 1, I can't. 2, I should. 3, it's not my fault. 4, it's a problem. 5, I'm never satisfied. 6, life's a struggle. 7, I hope. 8, if only. 9, what will I do? 10, it's terrible. All of these have been moving experiences on the screen of my life in living color. Well, now I'm choosing a different movie. Enough of that old Saturday serial. I know it's a thing of the past in movies, and it is a thing of the past for me, too. In that old script, I was a victim, seemingly powerless against the forces of evil. Now, in the language of Jesus, in Aramaic, the evil figs he once spoke of were really called bisha, which actually means unripe or immature. So I've seen the unripe or immature awareness of my life and myself. And now I am writing, directing, and starring in a movie which I am the hero, the victor, and I am ever powerful. My new script reads something like this. I won't. I could. I'm totally responsible. It's an opportunity. I want to learn and grow. Life's an adventure. I know. Next time. I know I can handle it. It's a learning experience. Now I see this as the true story for my life. A documentary this time. All else was fiction. Now I'm taking reasonable thought in my life. I know the truth, and I set myself free. Because I have shared so much in the time we have known each other, I wanted to share this with you. If any of my old script has been a part of yours too, then freely and in love, I share my new one with you, that you may enjoy victory, power, and joy. Until I see you again, know that I love you and I appreciate you. And I behold the good of God unfolding before you now and always. Your friend. I wrote that a long time ago. Well, it seems now like a long time ago. It was sometime back in 1990. And it came about out of the sitting one evening thinking about the woman you've heard me talk about so much, the secretary to the Unity minister in Cincinnati, Marion, who introduced me to Unity, and what an important part that played in my life. And then all the days where the crowd would gather at her apartment, which was just down the street, half a block or so from the Unity Church. People would gather there after Sunday services or various other days. Sometimes she wanted to have her apartment painted, so there'd be a painting party, and we'd all go down and paint and get it all over us and not so much on the walls. But she was an outstanding teacher of truth. And I'd like to think this sounds much like her. The script. Maybe you don't do these things, but I certainly have in my life. I can't. What? I can't do that. I can't because I can't afford it. I don't know enough. I don't have the time. I don't have the talent. All kinds of excuses why I can't. Sometimes we need to change that. And especially when it comes to the negative thoughts, say, I won't think that anymore. I won't keep telling myself things that keep me stuck. I won't continue to play the role of a victim. Someone in a presentation that I heard many years ago said, don't should on yourself. Do you do that to yourself? I should do this and I should do that. And what does that mean? Especially when it's Wednesday, you say, oh, I should have done such and such on Monday. Well, it's Wednesday. You can't go back and change it, right? You can't go back to Monday. You did what you did. Instead of should. Maybe it's time to think of that as I could. I could do something different next time. I see how I handled that situation. I could handle it in this way, a constructive way. I don't think we're far from the same kind of consciousness as Jesus' disciples when they wanted to know whose fault it was the man was born blind. Who sinned? The man or his parents? Excuse me. It's not about whose fault it is. It's about being responsible, able to respond when you think of the word responsible. Whose fault is not a position of response to a situation, it's a position of being stuck because of a situation. I am responsible. I am able to respond to what is going on around me and in my life. I heard these words both internally and externally. I'm never satisfied. Well, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, don't you think? Yeah. Perhaps it's an opportunity to learn something, to see things differently. There are plenty of people who will tell you exactly how something must be done, and there's only one way to do it. It's their way. But I don't accept that. There's your way. There's my way. They may all be different ways. And we can do things in new ways and have different experiences. So I want to learn and to grow. How long since you thought, life's a struggle? I heard a parent once say to a child, when the child asked for something and the mother said no, the child cried, and this was in a grocery store. Funny things happen, in the checkout line while you're waiting. And the mother followed up after the child started crying because, the child was not going to get what he wanted. She said, life's hard and then you die. Well, that's a lovely message to give to a 5-year-old, to carry the rest of his or her life. Oh, I'm sure in the later years, he'll thank you for it immensely, right? Yeah. Life's not a struggle unless we make it so. How many does it take to struggle? One. Who are you wrestling with? Yourself. Let go. Open your eyes. You may find out that it's an adventure and you're learning something. Or you're seeing something new and different. Oh, how many times do we respond to life? Well, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do in this situation. I don't know such and such and such. It's time we start affirming, I know. I, the divine part of me, knows. And I open myself to the inspiration and guidance of that divine spirit within me. I know. Oh, if only such and such, and if only I had done this, or if only such a thing would happen. If only it had been different. Well, how about next time I will do this differently? Next time I will say something positive. Next time I'll remember who and what I really am. Next time I'll remember my value. How many times we find ourselves in situations and we wonder, what will I do? What will I do? At times in my life I've been faced with that real pressure, when there's no money in the bank and the phone calls are coming from people who somehow are not so concerned with your condition as getting their money. What will I do? Rather than wondering and affirming how we don't know, it's time to put into motion, I know. And what's the first thing you always do? Turn to God. Look to God. Start praying. Start asking, affirming that your help is at hand. Tell the Father all about it. And Charles Fillmore said, you don't have to go to God in state. You can speak to God as if you're speaking to a good friend. And you can speak to God about anything. Tell God. And then leave it with God and affirm that it is done. And for you to keep your negative thinking off of it. I know I can handle it with God's help. When's the last time you said, it's terrible? It's terrible. It's awful. In a variety of ways you might say that. I don't think I want to label things in my life as terrible or awful. Perhaps we can begin to see them as a learning experience. And it doesn't matter what it is. There's always a way for God to bring good out of it. So you want to stay open to the good that can come out of it. For God working through that situation. And just possibly bringing you through it and to a better place with a greater understanding of what just happened. That would be very nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. All things work together for good. But the requirement is with God. And we need to be with God in the right frame of mind. I don't know, maybe the script is personally mine. Take these thoughts with you. Remember the theater of your mind, the film that you are playing and experiencing in your life. Reload that projector. We turn it on. And then we watch it and we say, what happened? Where'd this come from? Never forget, we are co-creators with God. And as God said, let there be. And there was. We too, in other ways, say, let there be. And there is. And we ask, what happened? You make yourself a victor By knowing how this works, by working it in a positive, creative way, by being that creative child of God that you are.